In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the difference between a Romanian deadlift and a conventional deadlift. Now, this video is only useful if you've learned both of their techniques and you're feeling a little bit confused about what exactly the difference is. If you haven't learned both of the techniques, this video will probably just be a bit confusing in itself. So basically, a Romanian deadlift is where we're trying to find stretch in the hamstrings. So if I just show you the technique with no weight, first I'm sticking my bum back towards the back wall and I'm finding the point at which, keeping my back completely straight, I feel a really big stretch down the back of my hamstrings. So I can't go any further from this position, otherwise any further, actually I can go a little bit further than that, but any further than my kind of end range of motion on my hamstrings, I'm going to be bending from the spine, from the lower spine, and that's not what we want to do at all. If I'm using weight, so I'll show you with dumbbells, I'm reaching my bum back and I'm bringing my chest as close to the floor as I can without bending from the spine, and then I'm hinging the hips back up. So the bum goes back towards the back wall. I want to get my chest as close to the floor as possible and my back basically parallel to the floor, and then I'm standing it back up. So I'm starting at the top and I'm going down to the bottom, then standing back up. How big your range is going to depend a lot on your flexibility. So somebody who's way more flexible in their hamstrings than me will get even further down to the floor, or might be able to straighten their legs a lot more and get really far down. They get a really big angle here, whereas that's where I finish. I can get a little bit lower, but bend my knee a bit more, but keeping my knees a bit straighter. That's the most hip flexion that I have. If you're not as flexible as me, then you're going to get stuck over here maybe, and then you're going to feel a massive stretch down your hamstrings. It's all about hamstring flexibility and getting to that end range of motion on the hamstrings. On the other hand, the conventional deadlift, which I'll show you with a kettlebell, isn't about that end range of motion in the hamstrings. It's about the position with the whole body, with the knees and with the hips, that allows me to use the most amount of force. So it's my strongest lift. It's most people are much stronger, like 30% stronger in a deadlift than they are in a squat. So I'm still going to stick my bum back. It's still a big hip hinge movement, and I'm grabbing the kettlebell between my legs, but I have to bend my knees a lot more to get to this position. So I'm using more knee flexion. I don't have a massive stretch down the back of my hamstrings, and then I'm using both my knees and my hips to push the floor away. So it's a much stronger movement, a lot less focus on just the hamstrings because I'm bringing the quads into it too, and it's just not so much focus on the hamstrings. So if I just show you over the kettlebell how I would do a Romanian deadlift, you see I'm not nowhere near the kettlebell because my knees are basically straighter, and so my hamstrings feel more of a stretch. I can also do it with my knees even straighter than that. Okay, so that's the difference between a Romanian deadlift and a conventional deadlift. Finally, I can also do a Romanian deadlift. I can do a Romanian deadlift also with a barbell, but I can also do a conventional deadlift with a barbell. The difference would look exactly the same. I would still be doing a Romanian deadlift like this, whereas doing a conventional deadlift, I would come further down to grab hold of the barbell to be able to stand it up with both my knees and my hips, and not just the hip movement. Needless to say, or maybe I do need to say, you're going to be way stronger in a conventional deadlift than in a Romanian deadlift. At the moment, I can deadlift around 50 kilos for about 10 reps, whereas if I was going to do a Romanian deadlift, I would only probably do about 20 kilos, maybe 25 kilos for the same number of reps. Okay, so it's the conventional deadlift is a much stronger position. That's the difference between a Romanian deadlift and a conventional deadlift.